person for me.
Hello, welcome to Conjugal Bliss. I'm Dr. Priscilla Ashonibare. Thank you for joining us. We're going to be continuing our discussion on the topic adultery. This is going to be the third episode so far. The first, we spoke about what is adultery, types of adultery, and last week we started talking about some of the reasons people give, when they end up in adultery, why they ended up in adultery, or what made them to go into adultery. And we said some it's due to carelessness, low self-esteem, weak boundaries, people who said their emotional needs were not met by their spouse, and those that will say that it was not intentional, but they just saw themselves in it because the communication and safety they perceived between their spouse was weak or was missing. Yes, the spouse is present, but not emotionally available. Some would now say that, yes, they intentionally went into it. They give excuses like men are polygamous by nature. That was why they did it. Some would say, I deserve to be happy. Some would say, it doesn't mean anything because everybody is doing it. That is why they did it. Some would say, because my spouse is boring in bed. My husband is just a 1-minute man. My wife, she would just lie down like a log of wood. That is why I went into adultery. Some would even say, yes, I did it as a revenge because of what the spouse did or didn't do. And some, didn't want to go into adultery, but were in a vulnerable state, and people took advantage of their predicament to prey on them sexually. We also said that another reason people go into adultery is due to covetousness and extravagant lifestyle, when they live beyond their means or want to live like some people. And so they will look for men and women who are not their spouses, who could foot their bill. They start sleeping around for financial gains. And another reason people go into adultery is because they are lazy. Such people who are looking for people to foot their bills, that is why they went into the adulterous relationship. They cannot by themselves go and work and make means to get that money that they can use to maintain that lifestyle that they want to have. Another new reason we are going, that is just to give a quick summary of what we spoke about last week. So another reason people go into adultery, which will be the last one we're going to be discussing on for now, because there are so many other reasons, is due to peer pressure. Yeah, people go into adultery due to peer pressure. I'm going to be giving 2 examples. I remember there was this man, elderly man, I think he should be about 70 or something now, and he said that the father ended up in an adulterous relationship and progress, ended up marrying the lady, so they ended up in a polygamous home. And as people used to say, that a polygamous home is just like a psychiatric ward. Have you heard that before? Okay, let me say it again in case you've not heard it. A polygamous home is just like a psychiatric ward, okay? So he said when he had grown up, and one day he just went to the father and said, Daddy, how come you ended up having 2 wives? And the father said, I did not want to have 2 wives. I never wanted to become a polygamous man. It was due to peer pressure. My friends were saying that, look at you, as rich as you are, as famous as you are, you can still allow one woman to be controlling you. You can allow one woman to be, will be the one that is bearing your name. Even us, that we are not as rich as you are, we have 2, 3 wives. And he said, so he was thinking, hey, I'm popular, I'm famous, I'm this, to be in, to go with the vogue, with the trend. So he also ended up in an adulterous relationship, and before he knew it, ended up marrying more women. And another example was this man. He was actually a police officer trying to live a good moral life, okay? And one day, He said, he was telling my husband and I, he said he just woke up when he felt that cold thing on his head. And when he opened his eyes, lo and behold, his wife was holding his own official pistol to his head and was saying, I just read a message now. Explain to me or I shoot you to death. And he said he had to beg the wife and said, please forgive me and all that. So we're now asking him, what led you? Because when you see this man, you will see that he couldn't hurt a fly, gentle, quiet, easygoing. We now said, with the way we are looking at you, you're not someone that, he now said he never intended to, but that many times his colleagues in the office have been talking about how they have so many girlfriends and they're enjoying themselves and they were laughing at him, mocking him, that he's a one-woman man, and so that he went into it due to peer pressure. Okay, so some people end up in adultery due to peer pressure. Now, let me say one thing here. We've spoken about so many excuses people give, so many curses of adultery, but understand this and don't let this ever leave your mind. No excuse is tenable for adultery. No excuse is tenable for adultery. Okay, let's now move forward. What are the effects of adultery? What are the effects of adultery? Adultery may temporarily soothe the emotional discomfort that a person is going through, but it will create deeper psychological damage for the adulterer and the spouse. So you might be thinking, I'm having a high time, I'm having the best time. It will create a deeper psychological damage. It is a line that should never be crossed at all. Because adultery will have negative effects on the adulterer, on the betrayed spouse, on their relationship, the relationship between the adulterer and the betrayed spouse. It will also have effect on the children, should they have children. Because some people would think that, okay, the person that is the adulterer is just enjoying himself, is just living his life. Hold it. Wait. You're going to understand better. Because that 5-minute pleasure can and have destroyed lives permanently. So, what are the effects of adultery on the adulterer? The Bible said in Proverbs 6:32-33 that the adulterer lacks understanding about the consequences, about the negative effects of his or her action. That is why they go into it. Such a person doesn't know that it will cost him or her their lives. That is Proverbs 7:23. It said adultery can even kill, it can even make people, it can cost people their lives. And it had. It's so unfortunate that there was this such story, I think many people heard about it, about this woman in Calabar. She discovered that her husband was in an adulterous relationship, and she was now pursuing the husband, with her car because the husband was driving, and I believe she lost control and had an accident and died. So it didn't just cost the adulterer the life, cost the life of the spouse. Okay, the adulterer also lacks moral principle and lacks understanding about the effect of the adultery. And the Bible says such a person is not wise. So if a person is not wise, what other word are you going to say? Okay, you said it. And another way it could cost the person his or her life through STDs, HIV, AIDS, all kinds of sexually transmitted diseases that are out there. And unfortunately, such an adulterous spouse will bring it home and, we infect the betrayed spouse that is just, living and being loyal to the spouse. So please, think twice. Another way it could cost the adulterer his or her life is when a jealous spouse refuses to have mercy. Proverbs 6:34-35 said it. He said, he will not show mercy, that the jealous spouse will not show mercy when he takes revenge. Have you heard about African thunderbolt? I remember the story of this man that I said, was in this adulterous relationship. And one day he just, came and said, I want to somersault. And they were trying to hold him, but he went to somersaulted at a number of times, and that was it. There was even the time when they said the man said that he wanted to crow like a cock. And before you know it, he said, kukuruku, and died. Or have you heard that there was a time when there was a video that was going viral of two people who were in an adulterous relationship that after having sexual intercourse became inseparable? I believe it must be a spouse of either who did that, juju or jazz, or what people would call it, to deal with the party. Adultery also would bring intense shame and guilt on the adulterer. Shame and guilt. You might think they're always saying, no, there are times when they are sober, they'll be saying, why am I doing this? What is making me doing this? Why am I cheating on my wife? Why am I cheating on my husband? And this will now bring internal conflict, because in their heart of heart, they know what they are doing is wrong. And this internal conflict will now also, another effect that adultery will bring to the adulterer is that they have this fear of exposure. Fear of exposure. That is why they will do everything to hide it from their spouse, especially if they discover that the advantages of being in the marriage is more than the disadvantage. And this had killed so many spouses. It has killed so many spouses. That meant so many adulterers, okay? The adulterer themselves. I have a story of this man who was in the bathroom, and he was in an adulterous relationship. And his phone rang, and it was right in the bathroom. So when the phone rang, he wanted to quickly run and pick the call, because maybe he was expecting the call from the adulterer's partner, and slumped before he could reach the phone and died. Okay. And somebody say, well, you always give an example of men. There are women too. There was this. Okay, when I get there, I will give that. Let's continue. Another effect of adultery on the adulterer, okay, the person that is into the adultery, is that apart from the fear of exposure, that is why, they'll try to tell all kinds of lies to cover up, to deceive the spouse, is because they're afraid of being exposed. They're afraid of, the wife getting to know. And this also will bring it about another fear. The other fear is the fear of abandonment. And remember, the Bible said fear has torment. So they are tormented. The adulterer is tormented. Okay, there's this fear of abandonment. Like the wife who's into the adultery will be saying, I hope my husband would never get to know, because I don't want my husband to divorce me, to separate. I do not want my secret to be out. My husband would kick me out of the house. Or it's the man, if he's the one, will say, no, I don't want my wife to get to know. I don't want to hurt my wife. I still love my wife. And they will say, because they're afraid if the wife gets to know, she can leave. And if she's leaving, is she going with the children? Is she leaving the children? How will I survive? How will I? And so many things that, they are afraid of the spouse leaving them. As I said, especially if they discover that there are more advantages that they're enjoying in the marriage than that adulterous relationship that they are into. That is why they will say, let's meet somewhere where nobody will see, where nobody will know. Such people could end up becoming liars, pathological liars, as a matter of fact. They would tell this lie and tell that one to cover up and all that. And also another thing that affects is that these people, they have the adulterer, okay? The adulterer, let's be specific. The adulterer has high level of secrecy. They will password have password on their phones that the spouse will not know, password on email that the spouse will not know, password on the laptop. Even if they can have password on their zipper, they will have password on everything. And they will not want their spouse to come close to whatever means they're using to communicating with that adulterous partner. You see them, they will not want to, the spouse, they'll say, no, don't touch my thing, don't read my message, don't pick my calls. That's a strong signal of an adultery going on. Another effect of adultery on the adulterer is such people will have increased defensiveness just to save face and present to the spouse that everything is still normal, to prevent the spouse from discovering. They can even be the one that is accusing the spouse of being in an adulterous relationship, and whereas they are the one that is into it, trying to play safe, trying to make the spouse to be confused and be the one that will not be begging and say, no, I've never cheated on you, I've not even thought about it, whereas they are the one that is doing it. They become defensive at any time. They also become overly sensitive and irritable, so that the spouse will not think of the fact that they are doing anything wrong. So while being defensive, they'll be the one to pick up the fight quickly, and so that the wife will be at the begging side. The spouse, that is the betrayed spouse, will be at the messy side, will be the one that will be pleading and be asking for forgiveness, whereas the one that is into the adultery is the one that is doing something wrong. On the other hand, the adulterous spouse may become overcaring. So it's either they become defensive, irritable, and sensitive, or they become overcaring. They become overcaring because they want to undo the wrong that they have done. So they will start showering the spouse at home with love, showering the spouse at home with gifts, trying to make the spouse to feel that everything is fine, there's nothing wrong. The family is still intact. They shower the spouse with so much affection that the spouse will not even think at all that their spouse is into an adulterous relationship. Now, another effect of adultery on the adulterer is they experience emotional fragmentation. Emotional fragmentation. Emotional fragmentation is a state whereby a person emotionally would experience split feelings, okay? They become disorganized, disconnected, rather than being whole and integrated. Their emotions will stop working as a team, as one. Okay, let me try to explain. It is when there's love and there's resentment at the same time. One day they will say, I love my wife. The other say, I hate my wife. I love my wife. I hate my wife. I love my husband. I hate my husband. I cannot do without my husband. I want to do away with my husband. So they have this emotional fragmentation, emotional swings up and down, up and down. They're in a confused state of what they really want. Even during physical intimacy, they are there, but they are not connecting with the spouse. Okay, that is what emotional fragmentation can do to the adulterer. What about the financial implication? Of course, in order to, if not that the person is gaining financially from the adultery, what it would do to the adulterous one, who is the one doling out the finances, it will affect the finances of the adulterer. And you now see them, giving money to the adulterous partner, either male or female, even more than they are given to their spouse. You will agree with me that there are more consequences than we can be able to explain. Yes, you will think they are enjoying it. They are not enjoying it. The fear of abandonment, the fear of exposure is a big torment on the adulterer. Another effect is sometimes they get blackmailed. Yeah, people now use this adulterous partner when they discover that maybe, for example, the spouse, the adulterer now discover that no, I can't continue with this. I have to go back to my spouse. I have to go back to my wife. I have to go back to my husband. Now the adulterous partner will now say, no, I'm not letting you go except you settle me, or else I will tell the whole world what they have been doing. So they want to blackmail, and they can even try to use that to siphon money from the adulterer. And the adulterer would, because they don't want their spouse to know, they don't want their image to be tarnished in the society, they will keep on giving the money. I remember there was this woman that handled it very well. I'm not going to mention her name. I think the husband was tired of being, blackmailed. So the wife had been telling him, what happened? I could see that a large sum of money is leaving our account. What is going on? What is happening? And thank God they had joint account. And the husband was, I said, adulterers are always liars, okay, because they want to cover. He will start giving all kinds of excuses. Then one day he came and said, okay, let me confess, because this is what happened, that he was in an adulterous relationship and all that. And the wife said, and that the woman was threatening to shout to the world, because these people were very important people in the society. So the wife said, no problem, just wait. So what did she do? She called for a press conference and told the world and said, yes, my husband was in an adulterous relationship, but he had confessed to me and I've forgiven him, and our lives will go on as usual. And thank God they're still together. Oh, so the one that was blackmailing him couldn't continue. But can you imagine the torture he must have gone through before that? Okay. Now, let's think about this. If adultery will make a person experience the fear, the abandonment, the emotional fragmentation, then you will agree with me that they might say that they're enjoying it, but there are also negative effects that the adulterer will experience. So ask yourself, do I want to go through all this, or do I want to do it God's way and stay faithful to my spouse for the rest of my life? Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be coming here again, same time, same day on this same station, and we're going to be continuing to talk about adultery, but this time we're going to be talking about the effect it has on the betrayed spouse. Thank you so much for joining us, and until I come your way again, God bless you.